Hey everyone, this is Steve Weintraub with Collider, and I am thrilled to be here with Paul Feig, a director who I really, really enjoy his work. And how you doing?
I'm very good.
I didn't know how to start that. I didn't know how to start that. I was like,
I like it. It's very casual. It's
I was like,
this is like our friendship. It's just very cool.
Sure.
Back.
I was going to dress nicer for you, but then the heat happened, and I said no.
There you go.
You're
not committed to the cause of sartorial splendor.
Right. Tomorrow.
There you go. You look great.
Thank you. I'll give you the $5 later. So listen, I have a ton of questions for you, but I want to actually start first with, a lot of people might not realize you directed, I believe, 14 episodes of The Office.
Yeah, I actually think it was 19. But,
no research by me.
No, but on the internet they say 14. I'm like, I think it's more than that.
Right. So again, no research by Steve. But either way, so closer to 20. What do you remember most about? Because that show is just still as popular as ever. What do you remember about directing those episodes and being a part of that franchise?
I just remember having to work so hard not to laugh and ruin takes. I mean, Steve Carell is so funny. I mean, the first one I did was where he was buying his own condo, and him having his breakdown about like it cost too much, and he kept doing it. And I kept laughing so much. They kept having to move my monitors further and further away from the set because I would just ruin all the takes. So I just remember laughing and everybody being so wonderful, and it's such a fun environment because it was so loose because of that documentary style. Every time you do a take, you've done the whole scene, but then you can just do it over and over again and try different things. So that looseness, that's I think why that show endures. It's just very naturally funny.
I have seen a lot of bloopers in the last year. Like I've seen a lot of bloopers on social media, and the cast laughing. And I'm like, how did they actually make this show? Because as you said, they're all so funny.
Yeah, it was hard. I mean, people broke constantly. It was just sort of part of the fun. But I think that was part of the energy of it too. You could feel that they were enjoying what they were doing while they were still committed to being real in it. And it's my favorite way to do comedy. I always try to create that environment on my movie sets too.
I know that Greg is developing I don't want to say a spin-off. I guess it is a spin-off. I'm not 100%.
Yeah, it's a whole different cast, and I think it's a whole different world.
I think it takes place in the same world, but it's going to be at a newspaper.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, I read that.
So I have to ask, if you get called, would you?
Oh, I'd always go back and work with that gang. I mean, I'm busy with my movies now, right. but no, it's just too much fun, especially if they're going to keep that style, which I'm sure they will.
100%.
Yeah.
Let's jump into another thing, which is Jackpot.
Yeah.
Which is your movie coming out August 15th.
August 15th. The movie's so big, I have to use 2 microphones to talk about Jackpot.
Right.
Stereo.
So I hate asking the generic thing, but there are going to be people who haven't seen the trailer yet or don't know anything about it. Yeah. So how have you been? What's your log line?
My log line is basically in the near future in California, there is a lottery in which if you win, everybody who has a losing ticket has until sundown to kill you and take your prize legally.
Right. Is this idea by Donald Trump?
He'd like to take credit for it, I guarantee that. No, it's wild. I mean, it was a script that got sent to me. Rob Yescombe wrote it, who's a really great writer who writes a lot of video games, but also does a lot of work in movies and all that. And it was originally called Grand Theft Lotto. And they sent me the script, and I said, that sounds really stupid. I'm not going to read that script. And 2 days later, my producing partner, Laura Fisher, called me up and said, you should read that script. It's really funny. And I got about 40 pages into the 100-page script and called her back and said, I'm doing this movie. I don't even care how it ends. I'm doing this movie.
One of the things about the film is that you have a lot of action, and I know you didn't have so long to shoot this.
No.
So how the F did you do it?
Well, I had a great stunt team, a lot of preparation, a great cast that just could pull it off. I mean, John Cena, who knows more about choreographing action than John Cena? I mean, when you're a wrestler, you got to know and be precise and be able to do all that stuff and do it convincingly. So, it was just everybody dug in. James Young, the great James Young, was our stunt coordinator, and he and his team, they do a lot of the Marvel movies and Captain America and all that. They were so excited to get to do comedic action because we're both Jackie Chan fanatics. And that's when I first read this. It was like, this is my chance to finally make the Jackie Chan movie I always wanted to make. And so we all just kind of poured in and said, how do we make this action real but funny?
When you think back on the shoot, what was the day that you had circled in terms of, I can't wait to film this? And what was the day circled in terms of, how the F are we going to film this?
I think every day had those 2 emotions completely squashed together, because I was so excited about all the scenes, but they're all very daunting because there's so much going on in them. I have to say the one that I really loved shooting and I was looking forward to was the first time Nora finds out she's in danger is in this dojo with all these karate experts, and then it also spills over into a yoga studio, and that one just makes me laugh because it's pure physical action. And then the ending, we have this big scene in a theater. It was just so daunting because it's so big, and we didn't have a lot of time to shoot it. So that was scary, but it's fun.
I'm always fascinated by the editing process. So for this film, how did it change in the editing room, maybe in ways you didn't expect?
We required less jokes than we thought we needed, because I always get a ton of jokes. We write all these alt jokes and stuff, and our test audiences were just they found the action and the situation so funny that we didn't need to put a hat on a hat. So we actually ended up taking a lot of jokes out. That's why for the first time in my career I did an outtakes reel in the end credits of the movie, just because I was like, we have all these funny jokes that didn't necessarily work in the body of the movie, but they're just funny on their own. And so I'm perfectly happy to be doing a Smokey and the Bandit and putting outtakes in.
When you do the outtakes and the credits like that, I was so curious, do you have to get the actors' permission to do that, or is it sort of like...
Technically not, because that's all, it's all part of the filming process, so you don't sneak in. But we always try to make sure they're cool.
Yeah, you know what I mean, though.
Oh, no, 100%. No, if some, you don't want a blooper where somebody blows up and calls everybody an asshole or something.
Right. No. Well, that's me on set every day.
Well, there you go.
Right. Just think. So how long ago did you actually finish filming Jackpot? Like, is it one of these things, like, I don't think a lot of people realize, like, you finish and then sometimes it's so long before it comes out.
Well, this is weird. This is the first movie I did where we finished it and then we had like a half a year till it came out, because we finished shooting this last spring. And then we basically finished all post, and everything was signed, sealed, delivered at the end of September or October. So it's just been kind of sitting there. And they were like, "Oh, we wanted to come out next summer." I was like, "Next summer?" Like, once you finish it, you want everybody to see it, and so it's really weird. Now I've finished a whole other movie in between that one, because we shot Simple Favor 2, and I've already had my first test screening of it. So now this one's coming out, but it's fun though. It's fun to not be relying on the one thing, Usually it's just like, it's all about that, and then what am I going to do next? So it's nice. So that's finished. Now I got the next thing, and now next thing's coming up. So it's fun.
So it's going to be on Prime Video.
Yeah.
And what's cool about that is that just so many people have Prime Video and they can watch.
Yeah.
Is it a little nice to not worry about like the opening weekend box office?
It's funny you say that, because look, we always desperately want our movies in theaters on the big screen, because this is made for the big screen. When you watch it at home, turn it up and watch on the biggest thing you can. But there is a little bit of freedom of going like, okay, like not have to be like, okay, you're under what we thought or whatever. Look, they still tell you the viewing numbers, so you get that, but it's much easier to get people to click on a tile than to get in their car and go to a movie theater.
It really is. I want to talk to you about A Simple Favor, the sequel.
Yes.
So I think a lot of people were surprised when it was announced, and then all of a sudden you guys were making it. Like,
yeah.
It was one of those. So how did it actually come together?
Well, it's actually been in the works for a while. I never do sequels, but this was just one. I was just going like, I don't know. I think there's another story to tell with these characters. And I had an idea that I was playing around with that wasn't for this. And it was like, wait, these two can marry together. But, we've been working on this script for, almost 3 years now, I would dare say. And actually had a script that was completely greenlit, ready to go. Then when the writer's strike happened, I was looking at a lot of the responses we were getting from people who were excited about the sequel, and just going like, I love this script, but I don't think this is what they want. And so we threw out that script, or at least about 70% of it, and rewrote it. And now I'm just so happy that we did, because I think it's exactly, we just did a test screening the other night and we scored very, very high. So people really like it.
What can you tell people in terms of the plot, what it's about?
Not much. All I can really say is that there's a destination wedding in Italy, and a lot of crazy stuff happens at it.
Okay. I do know that you shot, I believe, in Italy. Mm-hmm. So basically you got paid to go on vacation.
That was the plan. And then when you get there and it's so hard, the thing I realize is don't work in a place you normally vacation, because you're like, I'm supposed to be having fun and I'm really stressed out and everything's going wrong. But once it's over, then it's great. And look, I still got to live in Rome and Capri for 6 months.
That's what I said. So you got paid to go on vacation. I'm joking. It's like, what's funny? It's like Comic-Con a little bit for me.
Yeah.
Like everyone's like, oh, you get to go to Comic-Con. I'm like, I'm working 24/7.
Yeah.
It's hard to enjoy it.
That's exactly it.
You know what I mean?
Oh no,
I'm
totally.
Grateful to be here.
No, you have your fun moments, but most of the time you're just stressed out and not having fun.
For fans, when do you think they're going to get the first images, trailer, and see it?
I don't know, because it'll come out next year, but we don't have a release date yet. We're still trying to figure that out. But with the success of this first test screening and and all, I don't know. Sometimes they want to hang on to these things till the summer, make them big. Sometimes you want to do them in the spring. So I trust their instincts on these kind of things, but I'd like to get some images out soon. The nice thing was I was going to put out some advanced images from the set, but then I thought, what, there's enough people around. People are going to be capturing it, and I'd rather let it sneak out that way. So there's some really fun pictures online of some of Blake's costumes. Got it.
You recently so when do you have to have your cut done? When is like your due date for everything on the film?
Well, I mean, I have 10 weeks to do my director's cut, the DGA gives me. We did this test screening after 6 weeks because I always try to do one really early just to see where we are. So, I mean, I technically have to have everything locked by October, but then we'll finish the whole process out the door, technically great, the beginning of January.
Okay, so yeah, there's no chance of it. It's definitely next year.
Yeah, wouldn't come out this year.
Yeah. It sounds to me like next summer. Like if it's January, or it could even be South by, like something along those lines.
I mean, I love South by. It's one of my favorite places to show a movie. I was really bummed that we weren't able to show Jackpot there. I really wanted to, but everybody felt it was a little far from the release date. Whatever. Thanks. Just because I love seeing it with an audience in a theater. It's so much fun on the big screen.
Listen, I think there's nothing like seeing a movie in a movie theater. It's so cliche, but it's so true.
So true. Just have your friends over and watch on the big screen.
So before we run out of time, I know you literally yesterday it was announced that you're going to do a movie with Jason Blum at Blumhouse.
Yes.
It's about worst roommate ever or bad roommate. I don't know the title.
Yeah.
What's the title?
Well, we don't have a title for the movie yet, but it's based on on a true story called Worst Roommate Ever, and it's also a reality series on Netflix right now too.
So what was it about the material that said, oh, I need to do this?
It's just a fun, crazy-ass story. I love the woman in the center of it. She just kind of really gets caught in something because she's a nice person and gets completely taken advantage of by this insane dude. And there's a lot of chance for real thrills, real scares, but also some humor, too, which I'm always looking, how can I make things fun? Not necessarily comedy, but fun, because I want all my movies to be fun, even if they get dark, even if they get scary, whatever. I want them to be fun and kind of uplifting at the end.
So I'm so curious because with Blumhouse, sometimes they do like the micro budget that's like 5 million, 10 million. Sometimes they spend more. And the thing about this premise and with you is it seems like it could go in so many different directions from being really boundary pushing to a like more conventional studio movie. What are you envisioning?
We want to push the boundaries, definitely. I like really pushing stuff. You'll see when you see Simple Favor 2, we push the boundaries on that one. I think that's fun, and also I like the idea of trying to, a lot of my movies lately have been pretty big budget. I like the idea of doing something on a smaller budget because it gives us the freedom to kind of do what we want, not have to check a lot of boxes for the overlords, if you will. But at the same time, I'm a commercial filmmaker. I'm not going to make anything that I don't think entertains an audience right down the middle. I just want to push them a little bit.
Sure. Well, the thing about Blumhouse and the fact that if you can make it at a lower price point is you can be rated R and you can do some crazy shit.
Totally.
So my question is because I don't know if I've ever seen you do Jason Blum type crazy stuff. Do you know what I mean? So I'm so curious about this in terms of is it going to be one of these scary type movies? Is it going to be like fun scary? Is it going to be like...
I think it'll be fun scary. I mean, to me, it's really... It's partly in the spirit of those 90s movies, like the Ashley Judd movies and that kind of thing, but also with like a modern twist on it and just to really push it really far. I mean, I love doing R-rated. That's my favorite genre to do because everything can be honest and people can talk the way they talk and you can shock people with stuff and you don't have to pull back. So yeah, we really want to go kind of nuts with this one.
when obviously I don't think you have a script done. So is this like definitely your next project?
There's a script. Yeah, there's definitely a script. We're just doing do rewrites on it right now, but it's going to go. It'll go sooner than later.
Do you think you're filming this year?
Yeah, and we'll be prepping this year, and we start shooting at the beginning of next year.
Oh, so this is like officially.
Oh,
your
it's
next,
happening. Yeah, this
your
is
next
my
project.
next movie. This is my next movie.
Okay. Are you the type of person that likes to develop like 5 different things at once, or are you more like one at a time?
Well, you have to get things in the fire. We've got a bunch of projects in our company that are in various stages of development and rewriting and all that kind of thing, because you just don't know when the stars are going to be available, when the studio wants to do it. And just cast, like you can suddenly get the greatest cast and then they're like, oh, but they're not available for a year, and you're like, okay. So you have to have a bunch, but I also have to, when I know what it is, it's all I care about, it's all I think about 24/7, because I don't think you can be in the middle of one thing and like, hey, we're working on this, working on that. Like my team knows once I'm in, that's it.
The thing that I wish more people knew, and I'll talk about it with you right now, is scheduling is like people don't understand what that word is in Hollywood and how much it F's with so many projects, because people will wonder, well, why did this get all of a sudden rushed into production? Well, it's because this star has 1 month free in September and we have 4 weeks of prep, and can you shoot it?
The hardest part of our job is scheduling. And the other thing is that just stars now, you get them for a week, 2 weeks. So it's all about, okay, this person can do it, but you've got a week and a half, and that's it. And so it's like, but we have 3 weeks worth of work. How do we do this? So we're just constantly mobilizing. Like, how can we get them in and out? How can we make this happen? So I always say, like, the pictures you see in DGA magazine and of directors are always like this, and by the camera looking this. I say, you want to see a picture of what a director really is? It's this. It's like, well, fuck, on the phone, what? That's all we do.
Yeah, it's also different though now in terms of with digital filmmaking. Like, it's just a different way of making movies than like a decade ago or 2 decades ago, and everyone has to pivot into what's possible.
Yeah, well, there's also a lot of extra stuff on the set. It used to be like a film camera, which just was a film camera, and it had the video assist, so you'd run a cable of that. But now there's cables and cords and tents and DITs and all this stuff, which is great. Everything looks great, and you know exactly on the set what your movie's going to look like, which is exciting, as opposed to the old days. You go to dailies and go like, I hope that look good, So that's really cool. But it's just sometimes you're just like, wow, there's a lot of people on the set.
Yeah, my last thing for you, are you at all thinking about using the volume technology, LED screens, or are you like, no?
Well, no, I mean, we've looked into it. It's not as easy as it seems like it is. There's a lot of cleanup that happens with it that they don't really talk about. I guess I shouldn't talk about it, but I don't have stock in it, so what do I care? No, it's just it's not like, okay, it's great and then you're done. They have to do a lot of cleanup on it. So I'm open to it, but it's also, you have to have everything so planned out before you get there. And I'm kind of a spontaneous filmmaker that I like to have the freedom of, I'd much rather shoot people in an actual car and sweat my ass off on the back of a camera truck than be on blue screen in a studio and know that we got to make these comps look good down the road, because people just react differently when they're in the actual environment. You know
who I think would be losing his mind for the volume technology?
Hitchcock.
I was going to say Kubrick.
Oh, Kubrick! Oh my God!
Because
totally, yeah.
and I hate saying that because you don't really want to make a guess, but he is so about shots and precision,
yeah.
And I think if he could have had that kind of control with everything in the background, he would have loved it.
Oh no, totally. No, I'm such not a control freak director. I'm the opposite. I'm just like, what can happen? Let's go over here. Let's do this. Let's try this. So.
On that note, sir, I really want to say thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, Steven.
I really hope you get to walk on the convention floor at least a little.
I know. I don't know if I do, but
you should try.
I've been coming for 30 years.
You should try.
When Comic-Con was just comic books.
Right.
I'm an old guy.
I have also, anyway, listen, thank you so much for watching. And you remember Jackpot on Prime Video. I'm looking at the wrong camera, on August 15th.
That's right. Thank you, Steven.